Mom's starting out making her potato salad with 2 large potatoes. Everything's here for her. Potatoes are boiled. She's not gonna cuss today.
Did you put that down?
Yes, I'm making sure you put it down.
I haven't started to cuss.
She hasn't started to cuss yet. Say hi to everybody, Mother.
Hi. No, I haven't started to cuss yet.
Not yet. Helen's not cussing. That will be the name of the show for today. Helen's not cussing.
I don't cuss every day.
Yes, you do, but you don't know it. So anyway, she's just peeling potatoes. 2 potatoes, 2 large potatoes, as you can see.
They're hard to peel. That'll make me start to cuss.
So anyway, the potatoes are cut up to whatever size you want.
Okay.
These are about 1/4 inch, and now she's gonna work on the onion, and that's just a half of a white onion. You can put in green onions if you want to.
And they are better.
And they're better, but we don't have
We
any,
don't
so
have
we're
any.
just using white onions today.
Yeah. Green onions are better.
Green onions are a lot better.
They really
But,
are.
like I said, we don't
They
have
don't
any,
have any.
so white onions it is today.
Yep.
That is a half of probably a
White onion.
white onion.
Good size onion.
Good size onion. Probably a large, medium to large onion. I forgot to mention that earlier. What was that?
George Papa, the great big wheel like Dad had a small one, you know.
Mm-hmm.
George had one like this, and you sitting on it, and then he'd pedal it, and then the wheel would go around. Well, that's my dad sharpened his knives on.
Where'd George live from? You guys been growing up?
Right next door,
Where?
South the last place we lived.
Yeah, but on what's behind you, to the side of you, across the street,
right north of us.
north of you.
And my dad always had his fingers wrapped up in.
After we sharpen the knives.
I'd go down there, and he'd be sitting with his fingers all wrapped up.
After
I
we
said,
got.
"What'd you do? Sharpen knives?" Yeah, I went over to George's and sharpened knives.
And that's why I told you I sharpened that knife.
He didn't have a whetstone. I never did see him. He was over at George's. One time George and him they grew stuff in the garden, and I probably told you this story. And then George died, and his brother came and lived in the house. And my dad I never knew the rules changed. Well, his brother was Joe, and Joe planted a garden out there one year, and he had cucumbers in it. And my dad went over and got a couple of cucumbers. He said, "I didn't know the rules had changed." The next morning, because they had shared things, if they had anything. The next morning, or next day, Joe had a big sign over there, "Keep out, this means you." And he had an arrow pointing toward my dad's house. So, that old son of a bitch. That's what he said, "That old son of a bitch, I fixed him." "What'd you do?" And he said, "I got some goddamn weed no more. I went over and killed him, goddamn cucumbers." That's what he did. He killed all the cucumbers. That son of a bitch. Out there.
Who did?
We did out in our back.
On
Well,
South Mill.
Yeah. My mother owned all those lots now. Those were hers. They didn't buy those. My mother was born, her dad and mother. A doctor used to live in that house. And he sold it, and Fred bought it.
Fred.
My grandfather.
What's his name? Fred what?
Setzer.
Setzer.
He bought it and put it in my mother's name when she was an infant. And there were 6 lots out there. And friggin' Mary lived on one of them out the end. Bob and I and Jean had one. Back there where Pages lived, you know where that was?
No.
Back there, you know where friggin' Mary lived in that little house next
Mhm.
door? Okay, that's where Pages lived. But when I was in high school, my dad had hogs, because it was during the war. And he raised hogs and had a little shed back there, kind of like that one we had out in the country. Shed like that. And he had hogs in there. And he raised hogs. And that way we had meat and bacon, lard.
So anyway, your dad had the lots, your mom had the lots.
What was I going to tell you about that?
I don't
Ah,
know.
my mind got changed. What were we talking about before?
You were talking about George Pop had the garden and
Oh,
your dad
I was
killed
just going
it.
to say,
And then
back there where Mary lived, there were a couple of big apple trees. And God, they were good apples. And they were good trees to climb in, too. And they'd go, Mrs. Pop would go over and get apples and all the time. 'Cause I guess she made, I don't know what she did with them, she can't say. My mother made a lot of pie with them and stuff. They were good apples. But that's all I was going to say. And then Miss Pop would go over and get apples. And when it would snow, she had a big yard there. And we didn't want our yard to get tracked up, so we'd go over in their yard. She never said a word. Make a big circle and fox and goose or whatever it was. In their yard. We didn't want our snow to get all. They were good neighbors. I think this one half a pepper is enough, don't you?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna put a couple of these in, just to get rid of them. I'm not crazy about raw celery being in. I really like the seed better.
Well, you got both, so you can
I
put
know it,
both in.
and I like it better. If I didn't have these over here, I wouldn't even monkey with it.
I like the crunch value.
You, huh?
I just like the crunch value.
Do you? Everybody. Trees and Bill went to Lake Tahoe. Joe Pop had lived up in Chicago, and he came down and had 2 daughters, Joanne, and boy, she was pretty. One night, I was waiting for Dad to come down, and she was over there at George's, and she walked across the yard, and she sat down on the steps with me out there, and Dad showed up, and there I was, me and Joanne, sitting on the steps. Never saw her again. She turned out to be a nurse. She had a sister, Dolores, and I used to ride my brother's bicycle. I never had one. Mary did. I go ride the bicycle with Dolores. I don't know why my mother and dad didn't give me a pair of roller skates for the Christmas or something. I never did. Still mad about that.
So you got celery, green pepper, onion,
Yep.
And the potatoes are in the bowl.
Potatoes are in the bowl.
Now she's gonna do the eggs.
Now she's gonna do the eggs.
How many eggs are you gonna put in
Boy,
there?
Mike, you got them cooked just right. I
How
don't
many-
know.
how
I
ma-
haven't decided. 3 or 4. How many is over there?
I got 6, but you don't have to put 6 in.
No, I wasn't gonna. I guess at 8:45 I got turned on. WLS at 9 o'clock. I sure like that station. WGN's pretty good too. I like WLS better. I think I'll put another one in. Is that 2 or 3?
That's 2. Put in 3.
3 would be better. There.
A little bit of salt from our lovely salt shaker.
Well, that's the best salt shaker. You know what that salt shaker is?
Probably 60 years old.
Yep, for my 60-year-old. You put that in there too. Her 60-year-old salt shaker.
Dented up and all.
Well, that's, oh, I had a couple of them. I had one that didn't even have a handle on it. I think that's why I got a new one, because it didn't have a handle. Here.
And then she got to squish up the eggs.
Okay. Here we go, and I'll let you.
Yeah, you good. I'll stir it, but you just
All
gotta.
right. Hellman's
You gotta
Bailey.
use Hellman's.
Yeah. A good cook always uses Hellman's. Not that I'm that good, but that's what Gary always used.
You got 5 good tablespoons in there. Five good
Did you
tablespoons.
shake it?
The lid's open, Helen.
Yeah, I know, but it's watery if you don't shake
I
it.
know it is. Then.
Yeah, there we go.
Probably a good tablespoon of mustard.
Oh yeah, at least. There we go.
And your celery salt.
No, the celery seeds.
Seed. Sorry, celery seed. The secret ingredient.
That's enough. I think it is.
Well, we'll find out here in a minute.
Maybe I gotta put another spoonful
Well,
in.
Mom, we'll mix it up first, and then we'll figure it out.
Finger it out. I don't think it's enough.
Well, Mom, we'll figure it out. We'll just like last.
Here you go.
Just like last time.
Okay,
Put your celery seed in.
I will. There's
That's fine. It's
Be generous with this because this is really what makes it good.
Shake it all over the table.
I'm gonna do that. All right, try it now. I'll let you stir up.
Thank you.
I think it probably is enough. Get that on the bottom.
Thank you. I know how to cook, Mother. Thank you.
Okay. See if that's enough. You think that wooden spoon works better?
Yeah, because I don't have to stick my hands in it. That's too short.
It is not very tall. Well, we've got enough there.
I think it's plenty.
Yep. Oh, that looks good. Okay. Never even took a swig of coffee.
I was saying how.
Does look good, doesn't it? This is what it's more celery seed. Let's put a little more in.
That's the finished product. Probably needs a little more celery seed. It's open. It's open.
I might have put the rest of it in there then. But there wasn't much left. So do I. Yeah. Now we got enough.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it for the potato salad.
That's it. Now he's got to put a
Done.